So hi, hello and welcome again. And today's topic is plant cells. So as you can see here, I'm also going to put this onion later under the microscope, and I'm going to draw and label a cell, a plant cell. We're going to add those labels here. Now this is the second video on cells. The first video was about animal cells, and if you've not watched that video yet, then I recommend that you do so first, because this video today will builds up on the previous video on plant cells. So before I start observing the onion cells under the microscope, let's do a little drawing and some labeling here. So as always, I'm going to move everything nicely out of the way, and look what I prepared here. I prepared over here a sheet of paper, and we're going to now draw a plant cell together. When you make a drawing, always use a pencil. I cannot do that, otherwise it will be very difficult for you to see what I'm doing here on this paper. So yeah, it's difficult for me, because if I make a mistake, I cannot erase it anymore. I always recommend that you always start drawing the cells in the same order, and I usually start by drawing the cell membrane. And I'm drawing a line over here, and this should be my cell membrane. Make sure that it looks kind of reasonably nice. The question is now, how am I going to do that? If I add the labels right now, I will have a problem drawing. So I recommend that, well, I recommend that you label it right away, of course, but I will not be able to do that. Now, outside of the cell membrane or the plasma membrane, you have the cell wall, and the cell wall is already the first important difference between plant cells and animal cells, because animal cells do not have a cell wall. So what I'm going to do now is going to draw over here a cell wall, and now you have to be a little bit careful because it is not the line which is the cell wall. It's really important. Okay, I've drawn a line here. As a matter of fact, it is this whole place over here, this whole thing. So what I have to do is actually I have to color it in. I'm not going to do that, but the labeling line is actually this, not the outside part here, but actually the whole thick part that you see over here. As a matter of fact, the cell wall is can be seen quite easily under the microscope, and I'm going to show you later. So I'm going to draw another round structure inside the cell, and that is a vacuole. This is a large central vacuole, and the cytoplasm is here on the side. So the vacuoles can also be found in animal cells, of course, but they're not quite as large, and it fills quite a bit of the space of a plant cell. So where is the nucleus? Well, the nucleus can be found in the cytoplasm here. So I'm going to draw the nucleus in here into the cytoplasm. Of course, in the nucleus we have DNA, and then we have a variety of cell organelles in the cytoplasm. You already know many of them when you watch the video on animal cells. So for example, these here are ribosomes. They make proteins. And we also have, of course, mitochondria. Where am I going to draw the mitochondrion? Well, I'm going to draw it over here. Okay, so this is supposed to be a mitochondrion. There's some infoldings in the mitochondrion. And that is almost it. But we're going to see whether I forgot something, because I actually did forget something. Oh my gosh, very important thing is, and these are the so-called the chloroplasts. It's the third important difference. I'm going to also show you a video later on. There are also those horizontal lines in here, and these are the chloroplasts. But we're going to see whether I actually forgot something here. So now let's start labeling. I'm going to now change the color, because it's easier this way. And let's start labeling. So this one over here, this here is the cell membrane. I hope I've got it somewhere. Here it is. Oh, okay. The cell membrane. Here it is. I said that this one over here is the cell wall. Okay, it's the whole structure here. That is the cell wall. I've got that here as well. So this here, very important, is the nucleus. It's kind of squashed a little bit. But let's do it like this. That's the nucleus, which contains the DNA. Down here, these little dots here, these are the ribosomes. They make proteins, and I'm not going to explain to you now what all of these structures do, because I did already do that in my animal cell video, and of course the functions are pretty much the same, but there are three important differences. Of course, the chloroplast is this one over here. The chloroplast is responsible for photosynthesis. Okay, so they are green. I've only made one here. Actually, there are many of them. Yeah? Vacuoles. That's a little mistake over here, because this here is one single vacuole, and it's not plural. It's not vacuoles. So you know what I have to do here? I have to erase the S here. Okay, it's a vacuole, a large central vacuole. And I've got, of course, the cytoplasm. It's kind of where I'm going to put that. You know what? I'll put it in here. The cytoplasm can be found here. This is the liquid contents, the liquid part of the cell. I'll move it in over here so that you can read this a little bit better. And last but not least, the mitochondria, or mitochondrion for a singular, which is important for cell respiration. Yes, and what we already see is that there are, of course, many similarities to animal cells, and there are also three important differences that I'd like to talk about. Well, I've already mentioned them. Plant cells, they have chloroplasts. Animal cells do not. Plant cells have a cell wall. Animal cells do not. And plant cells have, well, they have a vacuole, but also do animal cells. But the vacuole is different. So plant cells, they have a large central vacuole, while animal cells can have several smaller vacuoles. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to compare plant and animal cells now using a table. So I'm going to move everything away here. And here I already prepared a little comparison table where which we can fill out together. And of course, you've got plant cells, animal cells, and I call this one here aspect, or you can also call it criterion. That's kind of the thing that you want to compare. And what I've got here, over here, all the way in front, I've got some little labels again, the three important labels that I already talked about. Presence of a cell wall. That is one important difference. The presence of chloroplasts, that's another important difference, and the type of vacuole. Okay, so presence of a cell wall. Plant cells, yes. Animal cells, no. Sometimes what people say is the following: plant cells have a cell wall, animal cells have a cell membrane, and that is wrong. Because of course plant cells also have a cell membrane, so it's really important here. Or chloroplasts. Plant cells have chloroplasts, animal cells have mitochondria. That's also wrong, because plant cells also have mitochondria. I mean, I made the drawing here. Look, yep, here chloroplasts and mitochondria. Plant cells have both. And also another one here, vacuole. Plant cells have a vacuole, animal cells do not, is wrong. Because as I just mentioned, animal cells also have a vacuole, sometimes several smaller vacuoles. Yeah? So you have to be a little bit careful therefore. And what we're going to do now is quite simple. Presence of a cell wall. Plant cells, I can fill this out with yes. And animal cells, no. Yeah. Presence of chloroplasts. Plant cells, yes. Animal cells, no. Now I have to tell you something. Here's an onion. Do onions, do the cells in there, do they have chloroplasts? Is it green? Is an onion green inside? Well, actually, no. You see, you have to be a little bit careful. Not all plant cells have chloroplasts, only the green parts. Because of course the onions are inside the ground. There is no light, so of course there wouldn't make a lot of sense to have chloroplasts in there that catch sunlight for photosynthesis. Yeah, so be careful. Yeah, if you find chloroplasts, it's probably it's a plant cell, but not all plant cells have chloroplasts. And the type of vacuole here, plant cells have a large central vacuole, large and central. And animal cells, what do they have? They have may have several smaller ones. Several smaller vacuoles. Okay, so these are really three important differences here. Here we go. Okay, so next thing that I'd like to talk about is what does the cell wall, the chloroplasts, and the vacuoles, what do they actually do? I mean, about the chloroplasts, I already talked about that. but I've got again 3 more labels that I'd like to add here. And I'm just going to, I guess I'm just going to add them properly next. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to add those labels here into the table. There's not enough space here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look again for the cell wall. The cell wall is over here. So let me move this out of the way here. The cell wall. Then I have here the chloroplast. And the last thing is the vacuole, the large central vacuole over here. You might want to write down as a heading here, maybe the function of these things here. Photosynthesis, sugar production, that's very clear. The chloroplast is responsible for that. After all, plants are able to make their own food using sunlight. Stores water and minerals, well, that is the vacuole. And the last one prevents the cell from bursting. That is the cell wall, because the cell wall on the outside is quite strong. Okay, and what happens now is the following: when water enters the cell, then the vacuole, which contains salts and minerals, will start to swell and expand. Okay, it will start to fill with water, a little bit like a water balloon maybe, and then it will push against the cytoplasm. Because there's not enough space in there, it will push against the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm will push against the cell wall. And the cell wall will keep everything together so that it does not burst. And so there is a pressure that will build up inside the plant cell. And this pressure has an important name, and that's called the Turgor pressure. I'm just going to add it down here because I've got some space here. It's the Turgor pressure. So people say that the plant cells becomes turgid. Okay, basically, if it becomes turgid, then it's filled with water, and it's very under pressure. Okay, you call it turgid. So a plant cell can become turgid. Now, animal cells, when this happens to animal cells, you know what happens? There's the danger that the animal cells start to burst. Okay, and in order to prevent this from happening, because animal cells don't have a cell wall, the animal cell is held together from the inside using a so-called cytoskeleton, which is a different structure which we don't have to talk about now. Okay, so plant cells can become turgid because of the Turgor pressure building up. As water enters, the vacuole starts to swell up, and it pushes outwards against the cytoplasm, and the cytoplasm pushes against the cell wall on the outside here. Okay, so that is essentially pretty much almost everything I want to show you, because yes, you're all waiting a little bit for the things that I wanted to show you under the microscope. And I'm going to show you first some moving chloroplasts, and then we're going to put the onion under the microscope, and I'm going to show you another time-lapse video. So here are the chloroplasts. So this is from a water plant. It's time-lapse, so I made it much faster. And we can see that there is not only one chloroplast in there, but there are many of them, obviously, okay, doing photosynthesis, and they move. There is quite a bit of movement going on here. And you can also see the cell wall. You can see the individual cells as well, because they look a little bit like bricks. And inside the cells, you see those structures. There must be also somewhere the nucleus. Difficult to see because it's transparent. But don't worry, it's there. The green chloroplasts are easy to see because, well, they're green, okay? So that's why I like this a lot, because it's easy to observe under the microscope. But again, I've been doing this on time-lapse, so it was actually quite a long video that I then was playing much faster so that you can see the movement much better. So this is a water plant, okay? And it's obviously green, because the chloroplasts are green. And now we're going to look at the onion, because this onion over here is not green, and therefore we're probably not going to see chloroplasts. Okay, so let me clean the desk a little bit. So I'm going to move everything away. And onions are pretty nice to put under the microscope, because they're quite simple and easy to prepare. So again, I have to clean up everything here because I don't want anything to become messy. So be careful, don't cut yourself. And I like to usually not simply cut apart the whole onion, but I like to usually cut out a square. So I make a cut here, a parallel cut over here. So there are two cuts. One is here, one is here. Okay. Then I turn the onion around and I make another cut here. So I'm actually cutting out a little rectangle. Up. See, the knife is a little bit dull. So, and this is basically what we get. Look, and you can already see that there is, on the inside here, this little skin, onion skin separating. And that's what we want to look at, okay? Because that's a very thin layer. And it's a layer made of a single layer of cells. And what I do is I take this here and I put it directly on the slide. Normally you put water first on the slide. That's possible, but I found it kind of difficult to put it into the water directly because it doesn't want to stay in there. So I just put it directly on the slide. Cover glass goes on top. Okay. And look, and now I'm adding the water. Okay. So I have got some water here. Yeah. And now on the side, I'm adding the water, and you see that how the water is nicely drawn in. It doesn't matter how you do that. Yeah? There's still a little bit of air here in the center, but that's okay. I'll just look at the cells on the side here. And let's have a look now at a few onion cells here. So I'm going to switch over to the microscope view. Okay. And let's put it under the microscope. Let me also turn on the light here. Okay. Up, no, it's not in. Now it's in. Okay. Let's center everything here, and it's a little too dark. Okay, so let's go up with the brightness. Yeah, so, okay, let me try to find a nice place first. Here, maybe. Those round things that you see, these are of course air bubbles, and you see those, those almost vertical lines. So these are the individual cells. So I'm going up with the magnification now. Okay, and here, that's much better already. Okay. You see how long the individual cells are. And those lines that you see, these are, of course, that's the cell wall. These are the cell walls. You see that the cell wall can be seen quite easily. The cell membrane is way too thin, very difficult to see. But as a matter of fact, in a later video, I'm going to show you a little bit when we talk about plasmolysis and so on. We're going to talk a little bit more about the role of the cell membrane. So this is now, 10 times magnified. Let's move up first, 20 times. Let's see. Okay, again, those round things, the air bubbles. Yeah, and maybe you can actually see there's this one nucleus right in the center. It's a round thing, right in the middle of the cell. A little bit difficult to see, maybe. Yeah, okay. But later on, I'm going to show you a better video. So of all of those things like chloroplasts, we don't have a large central vacuole. Here, at least, we don't see it. Okay. And the cell wall, that's the only thing that I'm able to see here. But that's why I've made a video later on to show you a little bit more. Look, now this round structure that you have over here, almost in the center, very difficult to see. That is the nucleus. Let me change the filter settings here a little bit as well. Okay, let's go. It's a little bit brighter. There are a whole bunch of things that I can adjust on my microscope. Maybe you're able to see this round structure right in the center. That's the nucleus. If you actually look around, you are able to see several of these. That's another one over here. There are two of them next to each other. Okay. Yeah. So you see onion cells are quite nice to observe, but let's go down a little bit with the magnification again. Onion cells are quite nice to observe and because they're so easy to look at. But I'm going to show you nevertheless now another video because you want to also see the vacuole. And I actually did find some time ago some onion cells and I did again a time lapse. Just want to show it to you. It's quite nice actually. So, and I also added some labels. So here, this is a video. Look, as I really zoomed in. So I labeled now the cytoplasm, and over here, that's the vacuole. So you see that the vacuole is really large and it almost fills out the whole space of the cell. There's not a lot of space for the cytoplasm left. So again, the line, no, other side, this line over here that you see over here, okay? Look carefully. This dark line, that is the cell wall. Okay, and right next to it here, that is the cytoplasm, and over here, that's again the next vacuole. Okay, I'm having a problem here a little bit. Okay, here vacuole, vacuole here. Then here next to the cell wall is the cytoplasm, and then you have the cell wall, and then here in the next cell again you have a very thin layer of cytoplasm, and then again the large vacuole. You see it much better here on the other side. Okay. And those little dots that you see moving inside the cytoplasm, these are a variety of cell organelles, vesicles, and I don't know if this round thing that you see over there, on the other side, there's this in the cytoplasm, this round structure. I don't know if this could be a nucleus, but I think not. I think even for nucleus, it's still a little bit too small. So somewhere there's got to be the nucleus, pushed to the cell wall somewhere in the cytoplasm. Yeah, so the video is looping, but I just wanted to share this video with you because it actually shows quite nicely the relationship between the cell wall and the cytoplasm and also the vacuole. And again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's important. I don't see any chloroplasts here because onion cells, they do not do photosynthesis. They're not green. So you have to put them into water a little bit, and then you have leaves coming out here, and then they will become green, and then they will, of course, contain also chloroplasts. Okay. Yeah, so this is pretty much all that I wanted to share with you today. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. And as always, at the end of the video, I'm going to put again all of the information for you to see. And for right now, I just want to wish you all the best and see you around next time. And bye-bye. Bye-bye.